Right. In the short term, I think that it's a good sign that the Biden administration has made some moves recently to show that it's interested in moving the process forward. But however, the Iranians would think that many of these moves are largely symbolic. What they're looking for and what they want most of all are some signs that the US is prepared to actively lift sanctions such that the Iranians have access to the monies they need. If there's unlikely to be movement on that front for now, but what we're looking for right now is whether there will be a meeting between the US, Iran, and the other JCPOA parties as proposed by the Europeans. So that's very much what we're waiting to see.
You know, you just have to wonder how much leverage Iran really has at this point. Certainly the government being maybe different from the feeling on the street. I mean, you've seen this country ravaged by COVID, ravaged by sanctions, and so much pressure that's been putting on basic staples like food, even in importing into the country. But when you think about this with regards to sort of the leverage that they have, I mean, saying that they're going to block inspections, I mean, that doesn't necessarily do anything for the United States, but it really doesn't do anything for them. Is the Biden administration going to be able to call them to the carpet on this?
Right. So that's a really interesting point that you're making, because you're right that stopping inspections does have disadvantages for Iran, because some of the opponents of the deal say that Iran is sort of trying to advance towards having a nuclear weapon, and not having inspections will only make this more uncertain. But from Iran's response to this, we can see that it is cognizant of these issues. And we can also see the divide within domestic Iranian politics between those who are more hardline and those who are more pragmatic, like the current Rouhani government and Foreign Minister Zarif. So the accommodation that they have reached with the IAEA is that for 3 months, Iran will continue essentially with the monitoring activities. It's just that they will keep the records away from the IAEA. And if the US lifts sanctions in 3 months, the IAEA will be able to access those records. So there's no problem of a monitoring gap in principle. What this does is it gives some space and some time for the US and Iran to try to work out a solution to the sequencing problem. But of course, there's a much larger problem ahead, which is what happens after there is a return to the deal, because US President Biden has premised the return to the deal on getting a stronger and longer nuclear agreement with Iran, as well as dealing with other issues like the missiles and Iran's regional role. Now, Iran is very reluctant to discuss these issues. And in fact, Foreign Minister Zarif explicitly said that these issues, at least his position for the moment, is that these issues will not be discussed even after a return to the JCPOA. So that is a much larger problem that the two parties need to work out, in that they have different expectations about the final goals and how to reach them.